This Manchester City downfall has been one that the Premier League has been praying for the past 5 to 10 years. Manchester City have been dominating the Premier League almost as long as I can remember, but now they have given the chance to teams like Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, even Nottingham and Bournemouth who are fighting for top four spots. The Premier League is just getting crazy and it's not going to stop. And just like how Man City are in their downfall, Barcelona as well. I honestly thought Barcelona was the best team in the world next to Liverpool, but they're starting to prove me wrong. They have let 9 points slip up in the La Liga title race. Now I think they have one game ahead of the rest. Both Atleti and Real are above them with the game less. So it's either Atletico's or Real Madrid's La Liga title to lose at this point. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Football. I'm your host as always, Gerardo, and we're going to talk Premier League. We're going to talk La Liga, no Liga MX. Thank God we get a little rest from all the crazy action over there. But I mean, world football just doesn't stop. But let's start with the Premier League first. We're going to go to Aston Villa versus Manchester City. Man City have lost 9 in their 12 last matches, conceding 27 goals. It's unheard of from a Pep Guardiola team, and I don't think anyone expected it. Really, right now, Manchester City aren't even in European League spots. They're sitting in 7th place. In this match, Aston Villa actually overtook Manchester City in the table. Aston Villa sitting in 6th, right above Manchester City. Villa also have been a weird team. They started off the season really well in the beginning. They had a weird period of form in all of November. All of November, they were pretty trash. I think they lost like at least 3 to 4 matches. But in the past 3 to 5 weeks, they've kind of regained some form. They have 4 wins in the last 5 matches, and this is a big one for their confidence. And I think it's deserved because they have a very good squad of players. So Unai Emery getting the best of Pep Guardiola, and Pep Guardiola is still left with no answers and really don't know how he's going to respond. I know he's waiting for that winter transfer market to open up to try to fill in the gaps, but I mean, it's just this downfall, this Manchester City reign. I think it's coming to an end, guys. I think most of us knew that Rodri was their key player, is the most important player in Manchester City, but they have so many world class players. You're telling me that no one can step up? Holland has been a ghost. Phil Foden, nowhere to be found. Jack Grealish, like, hasn't scored in 45 matches or something like that. Like, come on, what is going on? They have invested so much money. They do have good youth products, but they either are not using them or they have sold them to direct rivals and now they're shining somewhere else. I'm looking at players like Cole Palmer and Jadon Sancho specifically. Let me know what is going on with this Manchester City team. What's going on with Pep Guardiola? Who is the answer? What is the answer? Let me know your guys' thoughts on Manchester City. Now moving over to Crystal Palace versus Arsenal, a 5-1 beating. Arsenal have scored 5 or more goals in 6 different away games in all competitions this year. This is the most by an English club in the span of a year, like ever. So Arsenal, while a lot of us may see them as a frail bottle job of a club, like myself, they still are achieving some important milestones, I guess, in English football, you could say. But this was their year. This is their year. They have to make up the points, especially since Manchester City are dropping a ton of them. I know Liverpool is on hot form right now, but Arsenal, if they can get back on track, they can compete with Liverpool. They can compete with Chelsea. Manchester City doesn't look like it's going to be their year this season. They're sitting in 3rd place, looking nice and pretty, 6 points behind first. I think Liverpool do have a game in hand against Everton, but Arsenal have everything in their power to possibly fight for the title this year. This is their season. But this injury that happened to Bukayo Saka, the injury to Bukayo Saka, I think, is brutal for Arsenal's offense. We already know that. I think most of us know that Bukayo Saka is their most influential player up top. Not Kai Havertz, not Gabriel Jesus, not Martinelli, not Trossard. It's Bukayo Saka. He is that guy. Still young, still very fresh, but he has so much experience, so much talent. One of the best right wingers in the world. I don't think there's any doubt about that. 5 goals and 10 assists so far in 16 matches in the Premier League. And now Arsenal are going to be missing him for the next 2, almost 3 months. I don't think he comes back until late February. So it's a big blow to Arsenal. We'll see how they can hold on and see who's going to be their next important player. We're looking at guys like Gabriel Jesus, who needs to step up, has stepped up in the past 5 matches. I think he has like 5 goals in 5 matches in all competitions, but he's not consistent. So we need some consistency from these players for Arsenal if we're going to see a title race, a three-headed title race with Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool. Because right now it's just Liverpool running away with it. And now let's move over to Brentford versus Nottingham Forest. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, two surprises. Honestly, I don't think any of us really expected for Nottingham or Bournemouth to be fighting for those top four, top five spots, but they're doing so, and they're doing it in a confident manner. They don't look like they're surprised to be there. They're playing like they deserve to be there. Nuno's team are playing with confidence. They've defeated an undefeated Brentford at home. I think Brentford, the last time they lost at home was back in May against Newcastle in a 2-4 loss. So to be able to beat Thomas Frank, to be able to beat Brentford at home, not an easy task for a lot of teams. It's been a while that they've experienced that. But Nottingham Forest, they were able to get it done. Anthony Alenga has looked pretty good up front for Nottingham Forest. And in the past 5 games for Nottingham, they've gotten 4 wins, 1 loss. The only loss was against City, and that was probably City's only win in the past 12 matches. Just had to throw it in there. But Nottingham, I think they can pull it off this year if they just continue what they're doing, play with the confidence that they have. Hopefully, the players are not fatigued towards the end of the season. Let's see if they can keep this consistency up because that's the most important part in the Premier League. It's consistency and depth more than anything. Now, let's jump over to Everton versus Chelsea. Another 0-0 draw for Everton. I think this is the 5th time this happened in Everton's season so far. Sean Dyche has transformed this team. They're always favorites to be relegated, but somehow avoided every single year. And I mean, I think Sean Dyche has transformed at least the defensive part of this team. They're not conceding crazy amounts of goals, but they also aren't scoring, which is why we're seeing a lot of 0-0 draws. I think they have drawn 0-0 against Chelsea, Arsenal, Newcastle, West Ham, and Brentford. All difficult teams. These aren't walks in the park, especially for a team like Everton. So to be able to keep guys and big clubs like these to not score against you, it's a good thing. But you also got to be able to score and get some points. But for now, they're safe. I think they're sitting in like 15th, 14th, 15th place, I want to say. Just a few points away from relegation. But I think they'll be safe this year because there are teams that do look worse. I'm looking at Wolves, Ipswich, Leicester as well. Well, and Southampton. They're probably those four are the favorites to probably be relegated this season. But Everton, I think they'll hold on. And then for Chelsea, this was an important game for them to get some points because Liverpool are not going to keep slipping up like they did against Fulham. So Chelsea needed at least a win, and not a result, but they needed a win in this match. Didn't show up. They dropped necessary points in this title race, and now are 4 points behind Liverpool. Liverpool, like I mentioned earlier, with that game in hand. So this was really important for Chelsea. Moving over to Manchester United versus Bournemouth, a 3-0 victory for Bournemouth. Surprisingly, maybe not. Bournemouth have defeated Manchester United in the past, I think just last season as well. But what Andoni Iraola has done to this Bournemouth squad is fantastic. He has performed a miracle on them. They are up there fighting for top four, fighting for top five, and I think they will because they have beaten some heavy hitters so far. I think he's gotten the best of Pep Guardiola, Mikel Arteta, Ruben Amorim now, Ange Postecoglou. He scored 8 goals against these respective coaches and clubs and only received one, and that was against City. So obviously something is working there. And I think he has the most important part is that he has been playing as a team. They are all as confident as I was talking about with Nottingham. I think confidence is key right here. They're not playing like they're shocked to be there. They're playing like they deserve to be there. As for Manchester United, I mean, we know they were going to struggle. They sacked their manager mid-season, not even mid-season, before the mid-season, brought in a new manager, young, kind of inexperienced manager, has a lot of fresh and new ideas, but he doesn't have the players to do that with. You can see what he's trying to implement, and it has worked so far in some matches. But when you're playing against a team like Bournemouth right now, who are in good form, you can't lie. Yeah, it looks like Iraola got the best of Amorim in this case, right? And obviously they're going to look better than Amorim has, but Amorim needs more time. He needs a whole preseason. He needs his signings, and I don't think it's going to happen for Manchester United in this season. I think this is going to be another transformation type of season. They're going to need to really work on a lot of things. They have a lot of background problems and squad problems. No Garnacho in that one match. No Marcus Rashford. We haven't seen him for like 2 or 3 matches. Amorim and him have been kind of discussing publicly to the media about their like feud or problems. I'm not sure exactly how to describe it. and I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen to Marcus Rashford. Uh, Last thing I saw was that Marcus Rashford is an important player for Manchester United, but there's something that Ruben Amorim does not really like. So we'll see if they can fix that. But I think it's probably Marcus Rashford's time to go somewhere else, and I think he deserves to go somewhere else too. I know he loves the club and he's a great player, fantastic player. I think he just needs a change of scenery, somewhere where he's going to be appreciated, somewhere with a little less pressure because we know Manchester United is a huge club and that fan base can be pretty toxic. And they're gonna be putting a lot of pressure, especially on a homegrown player like Marcus. So I think it's good for him to get some time apart, kind of like break up for a little bit, maybe reunite in the future. But for Marcus Rashford, I think he needs a breath of fresh air somewhere else. And the last match I want to touch on in the Premier League is Tottenham versus Liverpool, a game that was on crack, a game that Liverpool needed to win, and they did. 3-6. What a fucking match. First, I have to say, back and forth shit. This is the what kind of games that I want to watch, that I love to watch in the Premier League. But as for Tottenham, they have only 2 wins in their last 25 games against Liverpool. I don't think anyone expected them to get the win. That's exactly what happened. Against the Big Six at home, Tottenham have also lost to Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, but away for whatever reason, they seem to have performed a little better when they're away from home. They have beaten both teams from Manchester, looking at City, looking at United. And as for Liverpool, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, I've been saying this for weeks, almost months. They're one of the best teams in the world. I was comparing them and kind of putting them up there with Barcelona, but that was when Barcelona were in hot form. But right now, I think no one can deny that Liverpool is the best team in the world right now. Every single player has shown up, maybe not Darwin Nunez, but as a whole, everyone has shown up. For Arne Slot, his ideas, his tactics have somehow adapted well into the Premier League in his first season, and I think this is Liverpool's title to lose. Like they have everything in their favor to win this, and they just need to hold on. And that's it. They have great depth. They have a great starting 11. They have players that have been there, done that, and I think this is the time for them to win the Premier League for sure. But let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with that statement? Is Liverpool currently the best team in the world? I'm just going to leave it at that. Now let's move on over to La Liga. La Liga, where things seemed like it was all in Barcelona's favor. They were 9 points ahead of the rest, pretty much. And now just the turns have tabled, or the tables have turned, however you want to say it. But they were up against Atletico Madrid, an Atleti team that were also on fire. They had gone 11 matches undefeated. Now they made it 12. They beat Barcelona in the last few minutes. Diego Simeone with a masterclass performance, honestly, tactical performance, typical Cholo Simeone style football. Just waiting for the right moment to strike. And of course, it was in the last 5-10 minutes when Atletico woke up and they got the result. They tied the match in the last few minutes, and then they won the match in the last few minutes. And literally the last second of the game, Sorloth buried it, passing Yaki Peña, and yeah, it looked like Atletico have everything in their favor right now if they can continue this streak to push for another La Liga title. I know the last time they had one was just a couple years back when Suarez was there, and now, I mean, they have a good squad. They had made important moves in the transfer market in the summer. So if there's a time to be title winners, is right now when Real Madrid are still kind of like trying to find their form, and Barcelona in this sudden dip of form, they have to take advantage of it quickly. As for Barcelona, it's still a mystery as to what the fuck happened to them. I mean, they had that period where they were just thrashing every single team that came across them, and then November happened, and it was a bad month for them. They recognized that it was a bad month, and it's kind of starting to move over into December, and haven't seen them win a. I think they only won one in their last 4 or 5 league matches. So I think they're consistently dropping points. It's been like 6 matches where they've dropped points. And that's not okay. If you want to win the title, you cannot be doing that. You cannot be dropping points in 6 matches. It's really unheard of to be doing that and still win the title. I don't know. I was putting them as title contenders. I had to put them as one of the best teams in the world. But I mean, right now it looks like it's for Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid, either or. And I really wanted to throw this in there. Pedri did not deserve to lose this match. Pedri was the most salvageable player from this match from both Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. He was the best player on the field. I think it's been like 2 or 3 matches where he's been just absolute class, like giving his 100%, playing important and such an important key role in the midfield, creating chances. And I mean, I think he would have like double digit assists if his forwards would put him away, honestly. Um, yeah, it wasn't a game where he deserved to lose, but as a whole, Barcelona, we already know this isn't a individual sport. This is a collective sport, and if the team isn't performing well, makes everybody look bad. But yeah, Pedri did not deserve this result given his honestly world class performance. And lastly, let's go to Real Madrid versus Sevilla, a 4-2 win for Real Madrid. Madrid looks like they're finding their form or finding their feet, or maybe they're going to start picking up form. I think that win against Atalanta was key because I think that did give their players a lot of confidence. I'm specifically looking at Bellingham. I'm looking at Mbappe. I think first off, I'm gonna start with Bellingham. I think he getting his form, getting him on goal scoring form, and being in threatening positions in behind is where he needs to be. Not really doing too much dirty work, but just being that box to box midfielder that we've seen at Dortmund. We saw last year. We're seeing him starting to pick that form back up again. And if he can continue that path, I mean, there's no one that can stop him. Easily one of the best midfielders in the world, along with Pedri, two of my favorite midfielders, honestly. And if he's in good form, he's the most important player in that Real Madrid team, right behind Vinicius, honestly. But the way that Bellingham pulls the strings in the midfield for everybody in the team, I mean, it's just something that is generational at such a young age still. As for Mbappe, 10 goals, 2 assists, scored a fucking golazo in this match. Very similar goal as to the one that we saw against Celta Vigo just a few weeks back. But this was good for Mbappe. He's been scoring regularly in the past few matches. Scored in the Intercontinental Cup. I think he scored against Atalanta. Scoring against Sevilla in this match, and Real Madrid fighting for that top for the first place spot. I think also one game in hand. There are 2 points above Barcelona and only 1 point behind Atletico, so they can easily take the league too if they are consistent enough. And I mean, we know Real Madrid, they can be consistent in the beginning of the season so far. It's looked a little rocky, but I think this might be their turning point, or they are starting to approach that turning point. And I just want to pose this question: do you guys think that Kylian Mbappe will end off this La Liga season as the Pichichi, as the as the top goal scorer? Because right now he has only 10 goals. He is 6 goals behind Lewandowski, but Lewandowski has dipped in form tremendously in the past month. Don't know what the fuck has happened there. Been missing sitters like crazy, but Mbappe's his stock, his level starting to slowly incline. I think he's adapting a little bit more to the role, adapting a little bit more to his role and to the team and to the league. And if he can keep it up, I mean, 6 goals for him is just nothing. So I think he can either match the tally or get all the way to the top and lead the race in the golden boot in La Liga. Let's see what happens with Real Madrid. Let's see what happens with Atletico. Barcelona need to wake up if they're going to fight for this title race, because now it looks like it's a 2-horse race. So we'll see. But that wraps up this weekend in football, at least all the biggest score lines in the Premier League and La Liga. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, follow, check out all the platform links down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.